So did everybody here except Luis get their newsletter via email like yesterday afternoon?
I didn't.
Okay, well we'll have. Would you send an email to Bob Doms and tell him that, and he can check the distribution list and how it went out?
That's bdoms at mac
Yep,
dot com.
got it.
Not necessarily.
It's yeah, nope, that's what I have. So
That's what I
Well,
send the software
his
updates to,
his
and he gets it every time.
his official TMUG address is festive.nudge underscore O eight as in oh no as in 0h at iCloud.com. Since we moved to GoDaddy as our host for the website, all of the email addresses have changed. So you might want to check the website and change them in your contacts.
So is newsletter at tmug.com a valid address?
Newsletter tmug.com is no longer active.
Ah, I think I saw that in the newsletter.
Well, we'll have to ask him about that. Okay, who's the last person who entered? It was Denny Smith and David Acklam. And somebody else.
Gina
Oh,
just arrived.
Gina just arrived. Hi, Gina. Gina, we're going to ask that you change your name. Well, change your displayed name to your real first and last name, but I guess it already is.
You're muted, Gina.
That is my first and last name.
Okay. We asked that because if your name is Gina Melcher
Mhm.
and you put down uh, Joe Blow and Joe Blow wins the raffle, Joe Blow isn't listed. He ain't going to get the raffle prize.
Yeah, I'm live and in color, Gina Melser.
Okay, welcome. Okay, we're past 6 o'clock. So, are there any questions for our experts? Certainly not me.
I do not have a question, but I have a statement to make.
Please do.
Last week I was here and I asked a question about how I could connect my telephone to my new Honda that didn't have any wireless connection. And I was given the name of a little device, and we talked a little bit about how to hook it up and get it done right, and it works like crazy. I love it.
Great.
I wanted
Do
to thank
you
everybody here.
One,
do you
one
know the name of it, and can you put like a link to it in the chat?
I don't know. Actually, it was Kevin that told me about it.
it was the CarLink Kit
Yeah,
2,
yeah, there you go.
and you want to search on Amazon for it because they'll have 20 of them, all with different pricing. But Jerry, one thing to note on that, you might want to check out for software update on it. They do add features and improve it a little bit every now and then. And the way you do that is while you are in your car. Hold on a second. Let me get the address. Where did I put it? Um,
It's nice to know that You asked a question, got an answer, and it worked out for you.
And that's why I keep coming back here on whatever day, you know. Next month we're going to be on the right time too, I think. Uh,
No, 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 Jerry. Arizona is on the right time.
oh,
12
I
months a
understand
year.
that. I understand that. I thought maybe this guy that's in the White House might do that. I mean, he's been fixing everything else.
Bob, what is that website? You talked before about finding the right address on the website.
Finding what on the website?
He made some sort of a comment about finding the correct email address.
Yeah, it's on tmug.com
Okay, so I did
and
that.
click on where it says contact.
Let me go back. Anybody
So
will,
Jerry, also you might want to jot this down while you're in your car, while it's connected to the CarLink adapter. Open up Safari and go to 192.168.50.2.
Oh, well, that's easy.
192.168.50.2.
Yeah, and what that'll do is that'll let you change some of the preferences in the CarLink adapter, do software updates if they're needed, and stuff like that.
Well, that's good. Thank you. More information. That'll help, I'm sure. But I'm just loving the heck out of it because I used to just bug the heck out of me. I had to plug it in to make it work, and then I'd plug it to take it in to buy my sodas or something and pay for out with Apple Pay, and then bring it back out and plug it back in again.
sorry, Bob, I'm stuck. So I go to tmug.com, I go to contact, and then I have to send them, I would have to send a message. Or call. I don't hear you. You're muted, Bob.
Sorry, my bad. Do you see where it says click here to contact TMUG president?
No, wait, I'll go.
It's below where you send an email or below where you send the message. There's a section that says email us.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So do you see where it says TMUG info, TMUG membership, TMUG president,
Yeah,
TMUG ombudsman?
okay.
You see those?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you right click on any of those, it says copy email address.
What about, oh, okay. So which is fine. So or your private email or Kevin's is not on this list unless you can get in, right?
Kevin's not on that list um, because he's not one of the official like officers and stuff like that. If he would like to be put on there, he can, but everybody knows that Kevin is Kevin at Mac.com.
Okay.
Uh, I'm looking for it as well. I'm on the TMUG site. Which is it
Member contact. Look for contact.
is this under membership?
Nope, right to the
Contact,
right of
not
membership.
Contact.
Okay, contact.
Now
Okay,
scroll down to the bottom.
okay. Oh yeah, membership. Okay, I see it.
Okay,
And David, I noticed
I'm
you,
going
by
to
the way.
share my screen for a little while to show everybody that.
Got it.
There it is. So everybody should see my screen, and here we are at TMUG contact. Everybody seeing that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
Here's a place to ask a question through the interface of the website. But down here, email us. Email is a preferred method of communication. So, like for TMUG president, if I right click on it, it says copy email address. And so now it is on my clipboard. And if you have a contact card in your contacts for me, you might want to add this as an alternate email address. See, and then there's one for treasurer, newsletter, YouTube host, which would be Roger, webmaster, which is me, info, and all the ones there.
Is there a reason we lost TMUG email addresses?
Because we moved to GoDaddy as our hosting service and our website service. And we did that because we wanted to have continuity if I should get run over by a pie wagon and somebody else would have to take over the website.
And they don't offer email?
They don't offer email for free. They might offer it for a charge, but everybody can set up a iCloud address, whether it is a direct new account or it is a hide my email address. And that's why they don't really show on that page because it could become confusing. But if you click on the email address there, on the email link there, it'll open up Mail or your email application of choice and start an email. David has his hand up.
Yes. This is a question that I asked several of you, I think it was the latter part of last year. I was having problems with my iPad M2, iPad Pro 12.9, I think it was. And I couldn't seem to, every time I did a software upgrade or a power reset or anything on that, icons, what do you call them?
The home screen icon lost its positions.
Yeah, that, and they got replaced with I can't remember.
Widgets.
Widgets, yeah. I was going through the alphabet, didn't get the W yet. Anyhow, and we tried everything to get rid of them. Well, I invested in a M4 13-inch iPad the other day, and I said, if this stuff is going to transfer over to the new iPad, it's going to drive me crazy. So the one thing that I don't think we tried, I'm pretty sure we didn't try, was doing the hard reset, where you press the volume up, volume down, and then hold the on-off switch. And then you wait until it gets you all the way to shut down, and you get the Apple magic.
Well, that is one of the suggestions I did suggest.
Well,
back
I think
then,
I had
and-
so many suggestions that we got lost, and I said,
Yeah.
taking up too many time and too much time. But just to let the rest of people know, that's one of those little things that I've used once before, and I completely forgot about it. But yeah, that hard reset is not really advertised very much, unless you happen to have to use it, and then you go, yeah, I hope I can remember it for another couple of months. But yeah, just share that with you all. It does some pretty good things about fixing little whatever gets stuck sometimes that other things don't reset it.
David, that would make an excellent post to TMUG Talk with the hashtag quick tip,
All right.
quick tips. And maybe someone might find that when they first need it rather than pulling more hair out. Neither you nor I can afford to pull any more hair out. Any other questions?
Question, Luis.
Yeah, go ahead, Luis.
Can I delete a folder from Time Machine?
No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. The other thing, I upgraded to Sequoia, and my computer is very slow, extremely slow when I use Google. Sometimes I have 3 or 4 applications, and it's telling me that there is not enough memory. So, is there anything to improve that on that?
A new
Which
computer?
which computer do you have?
Mac Mini, 2023 Mac Mini.
Um,
And I didn't know
how much RAM is in there?
memory. Where would I see that? It says
Go under About This Mac on the top left.
about this Mac.
Yeah, it'll tell
Okay,
you the chip, then the memory size underneath that.
8 GB.
That's why. 8 GB is just enough really to get your computer up and running and
Okay.
maybe one window open.
Oh, so I
And
need. Go ahead.
unfortunately, Mac Minis are not upgradable.
Is it an M series Mac, Luis?
M series.
How long have
He
you
said,
had it?
Since 2023, and then I have a 2018, and I didn't know if I should upgrade it because it's older. That's a 23.
It's doubtful that you can upgrade it.
Hmm.
A better suggestion might be to start trolling the Apple refurb page and see if you can find something with more memory and more hard drive space for a good price. I will put a link into the chat for the page for Apple refurb page.
Will it be a Mac Mini, or it has to be a different computer?
The Apple refurbish page has offers for sale, stuff that they have to sell. So what is on there today may not be there tomorrow, and something else might be there tomorrow. And so it's kind of like buying a used car,
Yeah.
other than the fact that it has the same warranty as if it were brand new from Apple. And you can purchase Apple Care on it should you decide to do so.
And
Yeah,
yes,
but
they do have Mac Minis there.
also, just a note is that your 2018 Mac Mini, the RAM can be upgraded by Simutech or the Apple Store, but whether it's worth it or not, that's going to be your call.
How much money are we talking about?
You'd have to call them
Oh.
and find out.
And how high should I go with the memory?
I usually
16 is the minimum.
recommend that the longer you want to keep your computer, the more you get.
So
But don't get more than 64 if they offer that. Because I doubt you'll see much of a difference above that unless you're doing multiple displays.
No, I just want to have a few pages open without having to quit. That's all.
16 or 32 would probably do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would go 32. Because don't forget, on the Mac Mini doesn't have a built-in screen, so you're using part of your RAM for your video card. So that's taken away of the total RAM that you have. That's why the 8 GB is just not sufficient these days.
Okay.
And also remember that you're doing it on your credit card and not Kevin's.
This is true.
I put the refurbished link into the chat.
Okay. Thank you. I see.
Luis, how big is the hard drive on your Mac Mini and how full is it?
On the 23?
Yeah.
Where am I at?
Click on Macintosh hard drive and do a get info or command I.
I'm trying to. Okay, Mac. Okay, on the hard drive. Kind, volume, capacity,
Sure.
494, and available 361.
So
Okay,
you
so
have a half a gigabyte of 512 drive, and you're using a third of it or less.
Yes.
So 512 might be good for you for the future. 1 gig would be better.
1 terabyte, you mean?
That's what I meant. Thank you, Kevin.
So upgrade that too.
Only if you want. That could be
Oh.
upgraded later if needed.
Okay.
Using external drives, they're really fast these days.
Okay. Thank you.
Next.
I have a question.
Sure, Gina.
Sure. So I put this on the message board, but I don't think I really got an answer to it. When I'm using Google Maps for navigation, the voice direction like clips. It'll say like make a right at, and then it just stops. I never had that problem when I had my old iPhone, which was a 10 or the X, whatever. And I have a 15 now. So I was wondering if anybody else was experiencing that. And is that just Google and Apple not playing nice, or is there a fix for it?
Does it happen when you use Apple Maps or Waze?
So I don't know. I have them on my phone, but I never use them. I just always used Google Maps. So I could try them, but I'm just wondering if there's a fix for that. Is it just
My guess is it's something with either your cell service with Google Maps that's causing it or something in Google Maps. And they update those weekly. So just wait for the next update, see if it fixes it.
I've had the phone since July. So
And it's happened ever since.
mhm.
You may want to just uninstall Google Maps and then reinstall it
All
if
right.
that resolves it.
Okay. So
But
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would highly recommend using Apple Maps. I think it's better. They've come a long way since the old days when
Okay.
Google Maps was preferred and Apple's just didn't work.
Okay.
And it's prettier.
And also I put a link to a app in your message in that thread. There's an
Okay.
app that you can get so that when you Google something and you press that directions button, it'll open it in the Apple Maps instead of try to opening it in Google Maps, which is really nice.
And like Google direction.
So when you're in Safari and you
Right.
Google, like say you wanted to Google Tucson Mall,
Okay.
it'll give you the phone number, directions, and whatever. When you
Okay.
click on that directions button, normally by default, since your search is using Google, it'll try to use either Google Maps inside of Safari or the Google Maps app. And what that app does is it tells Safari that when somebody clicks a map link, they send it to the Apple Maps instead.
Okay. So I also don't use Safari on my phone. I use Firefox. So
Okay. Then I am not sure how that works with Firefox, but you may want to just check it out.
okay. Okay. I'll try that. But I
At
will
least you're using an iPhone and not an Android, so we still love you.
yeah. A lot of the stuff I use is because back in the day, things like Apple Maps, to be honest, like they totally sucked at one point. So I just stuck with what, I had no need to switch over. Everything worked fine. But I'll delete it and I'll reinstall it and I'll see if that fixes it. So nobody else uses Google Maps. Everybody else uses Apple Maps or Waze.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always like to be different. All right, fine. Thank you.
That brings up a question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Tommy.
You said Google is going DuckDuckGo so out of fashion today.
Well, on Safari on iPhones, most people don't change the default. I don't know if it's out of laziness, out of habit, or whatnot, but 99% of my clients, at least, all use Safari on their iPhones as a web browser. You
Fine,
know,
I use Safari, and my default search engine is DuckDuckGo.
right. So when you're searching for a location, I don't know what the links for DuckDuckGo to go to. They may try to open up inline instead of in a map program.
No, they take you to the maps.
Okay. Yeah, if they take you to Apple Maps, then you don't have to worry about it.
I was just worrying about being tracked by Google or by not being tracked by using DuckDuckGo.
We're all being tracked.
Well, supposedly we're being tracked less.
What's that old saying? One way or another.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, um, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but it came to my attention that apparently it's possible now with the most recent update to, I think this is only on iPhone and iPad that you can do this. I don't believe you can do this on the Mac, but apparently you can now unbelievably move or migrate Apple accounts or Apple IDs rather. When I first started with my Mac, I believe it was, I used my own personal email address or my business email address as my Apple ID, and then got iTunes and things like that on there. And when I closed my business, the I couldn't use the business address that way, but I could still use it as an Apple ID. But my Apple ID now is different from the one I use for iTunes. Well, apparently, just recently, it's become possible for you to migrate your Apple ID so you can actually merge them. I just thought I'd bring that up to your attention.
That feature came out last week, and Apple so far 3 times have changed or added restrictions to it. There was a good article in 9 to 5 Mac about that yesterday. I'm looking for it now.
Yeah.
Um,
About migrating Apple.
let's see. Yeah.
Here it is. Migrate purchases from one Apple account to another. Migrate purchases, right?
And I don't see it on here. Let me just do a search.
And tidbits too.
Here it goes. I'm gonna put a link in the chat for that. Also, David, I put a link in for Apple's instructions on force restarting because it's slightly different on different devices. And there's an article on what requirements are for that, for the migrating accounts.
Yeah, there's an article here in about migrating that tells you what the limitations are. I think they refer to it under support.apple.com, EN-US. It's number 117267 is the article number. And the one regarding the migrating purchases from one Apple account to another Apple account is 117294.
Lee, would you put those into the chat, please?
I will.
Thank you. There was some discussion on this topic yesterday at the Apple Leaders Group meeting in the afternoon. And I'm not fully competent and knowledgeable about this, but it's my understanding that if you have two Apple ID accounts, both of which you purchased something on, you can migrate those purchases from account B to account A and merge them together. And then when you do that, account B just goes away.
Exactly. Well, you have to remove it. Yes, exactly. They do recommend that you remove your data from using iCloud before you do all of that. So that would mean that if you had anything on the account that you're going to remove, if you had something in Pages, you'd want to take that out. If you had photos, you'd want to go into the Photos app and on the I'm sorry, on the iCloud account that you're going to remove, go into that and take those out manually. But everything else should the data you should remove, but everything else will migrate over, including the purchases.
Very good points, Lee. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I have a statement. My wife and I
for
are
it.
going to be in Tucson from the 12th to the 18th. We're going in for the annual book fair on the University of, I guess, the University of Arizona Tucson campus. And so if anybody would like to get together for lunch, I'm available.
Where are you at now, Lee?
Well, I'm in Bayside, Wisconsin. It's Milwaukee, a suburb of Milwaukee. So, yes. We try to get into Tucson once a year. We have friends that live there, and I discovered that book fair a couple of years ago, and it's just marvelous. I think it's the
It's
fourth.
wonderful, isn't it?
It is. I think it's the fourth largest in the country.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to put that in the chat as well, Lee, and with a email address or something.
I'll put my email address and I'll even put my cell phone number. How about
Okay.
that?
Well, this goes. Does it is the chat part of the recording that gets put out on YouTube?
The chat gets saved and sent off to Susan.
Okay, but doesn't get included as a text in the YouTube.
No.
Okay, I wouldn't want that stuff to get out there.
Right. Good point, Kevin.
I have a question. So I'm still researching the getting a new laptop. So do you think I should wait for? It's imminent from what I've been reading that the MacBook Air is going to get the M4 chip, and that seems to be like this month, next month, soon. Should I wait for that, or should I just go with the MacBook Air with the M3 chip? Is it going to be
Wait for the M4. It's significantly faster, better energy, and it'll support better video.
Okay. Okay. At this point, it seems like I'd be foolish not to just wait. So that's
I
what
know a lot of people that are waiting for it. So
Okay. All right. Thank you.
anybody else have any questions?
Maybe we've solved everything.
We solved all the world's problems.
Yeah. Or I think Luis said it earlier that, or somebody did, that I have all these questions all month long. And then when it comes time to sit here, they all just kind of go away.
Mhm.
That certainly happens to me.
Especially when you go to the
Ew.
doctor.
How fast and how likely is it that prices will rise very quickly due to political happenings?
Tariffs, yeah.
Doubtful. I don't think it's going to affect Apple products because we're already paying the tariffs on the Apple stuff, and Apple makes so much money on the device. If they have to drop it a couple of dollars, it's not going to hurt them because what they lose in profit on a per unit basis, they actually will make up in quantity. You know,
Okay.
the higher end Apple products are still at a premium, but you get more money, more bang for your buck these days, especially if you don't overload a computer.
What is overload a computer, Kevin?
Well, I've got 128 gigs of RAM in mine. I'll never use it. That's overload.
Okay.
And they sell some more with more. Hi, Bill. You have a question? You're muted, I think.
Good.
Reciprocal tariffs simply means that it equals out. You know, one party charges 10%, the other one charges 10%, or they reduce it, but they stay basically equal. That's what reciprocal tariffs really mean. So I don't see, prior to this, yes, I could see that affecting, you know, the cost of living and everything for a while until things straighten out. But these reciprocal tariffs will really won't affect much at all. And you know, maybe if they can find out why people are getting Social Security when they're over 150 years old, maybe we'll be able to help the budget somewhat.
Bill, did you have a question? Do you have your audio working yet?
I hope it's working. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supposedly, something is being announced by Apple tomorrow.
The 4SE, apparently.
Yeah.
What is the 4SE?
It's a lower quality iPhone. So it's iPhone on a budget.
Uh-huh.
And whether they announce other things, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
My wife needs a new iPad, and I don't know if I should be. Is there an M4 chip coming out?
the M4 chip came out in the iPads last year,
Oh, that's right. That's right.
and the M5s aren't. They're working on M5s, but from what I understand, they don't have a set date on those yet.
All right, then that's fine. Thank you.
We have a new first timer here. Your name is Brenda. Brenda is one of my photography clients. Hi, Brenda. Do you have any questions for us?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Let us know if you do.
Okay.
My wife
Right.
had to buy a new iPad. My wife had to buy a new iPad because essentially she had passed into security on this iPad does not exist. In other words, she couldn't get any more security updates. And she ran around and she said, well, I get a top of the line like I did, or I can be economical. And she looked at the prices and the history and said, iPad version 10 is the one for me. The price, you know, it does everything I need, and the price is nice and low. And Amazon's actually discounted it quite a bit more. And she says as soon as they get a replacement for it, then I'll look at the replacement, which would be the iPad 11, and see if that tempts me. But it's going to have to be real sweet or run something that I need. And I don't think that's going to happen for her. So I suspect that she made the right decision by going low price-wise and just waiting out until Apple makes her old machine go away because of security updates, and then she'll update right at the low end of the market again, and people will have really marked down the prices. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah, one of the things about the iPads is people that use them on a general basis, they work so well that there's no need to upgrade. I know Sue has her iPad is from 2017, and I keep on asking her if she wants a new one. She goes, when it dies.
Yeah.
And, 8 years later, it's still working fine and she doesn't have a problem. And, I don't use my iPad at all. So I've offered her mine and she won't even take it because hers works, does everything she needs it to do.
Yeah, I get snake pit about the security updates, so I tend to push her on, if you can't add the latest security fixes, it's beginning to be time to think about replacing it. But
And-
that's, you have to know who you are and what level of risk you're willing to tolerate.
And how's
Yeah,
that
well,
working out for you, Jerry? Is she listening to you?
Um, we have some nice discussions.
Yeah, one thing to note is most of those security updates are web-based, especially for the iPad, because that's what 90% of people use them for. And if you have a really good router with a good hardware firewall, you can circumvent a lot of the security updates. Or I shouldn't say circumvent, they're just not as important.
Yeah.
I think these days I do probably what 75% of my work is on the iPad, and I get on the Mac when I'm going to write when it involves a lot of typing. But other than that, the iPad is great.
Yeah, and I'm the exact opposite. My iPad stores all my music on it, and I use it to stream music. That's it.
Use cases.
I'm going to change subjects here. How is your wife?
Who are we talking to?
Pardon?
Who are we talking to?
Kurt?
Kurt. She's home again and doing very well.
Okay. I just hadn't heard.
Yeah, all's well.
Any plans to do another in-person TMUG meeting?
Not at this time.
Okay.
At Christmas, I hope, at least.
Well, before Christmas.
We'll do that before Christmas, yeah.
Well, we're talking about iPads. I just got a new one because my 8-year-old iPad Pro either needed a new battery or replacement. And I decided to not go with the Pro, but to go with an iPad Air because most of my iPad use is consumption rather than creation. I've been very happy with the iPad Air. I am less happy with Apple and their return policy or their trade-in policy. They said they'd give me $75 for it. I said, okay. So I sent it in. They saw it and they said, "Oh, it's been adjusted. It's now 0
What?
because the screen has white spots on it." Well, I said, "Okay, go ahead, recycle it." But then they asked me again, and I said, "Okay, send it back." I just started it up, and there ain't no white spots on it now, other than a little bit of dust, which I can wipe away. So,
You can go into the Apple store, and if you bought your iPad within the last 30 days, they will do the trade-in at the store and give you a
yeah,
gift card or towards your credit card.
yeah, I know that. And, part of it is that the Apple Store is an hour away.
Right.
I understand that.
And so I might just keep it here and repurpose it as our kitchen iPad, replace the one in our kitchen, which is probably from 2012, 2013, 2014, something like that. So we'll see after I discuss it with the uh, powers that be in the kitchen. So Kevin's quite right. If you're going to trade something in and it is useful, if the Apple Store is within your sphere of influence, probably take it there, because I got gypped. But either that or they were looking at this iPad and they're looking at that email and said, "Oh, white spots, you don't get nothing." David.
Yeah, I got another question. I was went ahead and put the tips and the link into the group's chat thing there. One thing I found though is on Safari on the iPad, I can't figure out how I can set up the individual websites that I use regularly, that I don't mind them having my location or whatever. The only thing I could see on the iPad, and maybe the same on the iPhone, but when you go to the app settings, uh, it's just one setting, that websites and trackers or none. But that I think just applies to every website you go to on the iPad versus on the Mac, you can set them up for individual websites, whether or not you want to share your location, block trackers, and a few other selections you have in it.
Yeah.
Is there such a equivalent on the iPad, or is that just a shortcoming of how the iPad and Safari works?
I know there is a difference in what you can configure uh, between iOS and Mac OS. And the sites I've been reading kind of hint, and knowledgeable people kind of hinted at the idea that Apple will bring things back together again, so that iOS and Mac OS are the same, but it's certainly not that way right now.
Okay, so I was, you get in this do loops that you're going, well, wait a minute, I've tried this one, I've looked there, I've looked here, looked everywhere, and then go, I'm right back where I started with, and I think what you're saying, Jerry, is that you've seen the same thing in your experience and what you saw in other groups and that. Kevin, I don't know if you caught my concern there.
I did. I don't have an iPad in front of me, so again, yeah, I keep my iPad in the bedroom plugged into a speaker, well, Bluetooth speaker, but
Yeah. Anyhow, it may be that just what Jerry said. There's not a one-to-one compatibility between Safari on the iOS devices versus on the Mac OS, and that's fine. I know how to do it. I couldn't log in to the club site until I went over and said, "Hey, turn off the website block I had in there for all, in the settings," and then it let me in with just don't let trackers in. But then I have to go back and set it off because other websites I want to visit, I don't necessarily want websites and trackers in there. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Me question when if I send my computer, my Mac Mini for an upgrade, is there any way to lock the hard drives so that no one can copy the files there, or what precautions can I take?
You can turn on, if you're talking about when you send in your 2018 to get a RAM upgrade,
Yeah, my
you
Mac
turn
Mini.
on File Vault.
File what?
File Vault. It's in
Okay.
the security settings, and what it'll do, it'll require a password for them to get access to your personal information. It'll encrypt the hard drive.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at 50 minutes after the hour. Time to take a break for a little whatever you need to do before the general
File
meeting at
vault.
7.